Welcome everybody to Wrestling is Cool, the coolest wrestling podcast on the planet. I'm sick. That's Sancho West. We just came back from TwitchCon. How are you, buddy?
Dude, meeting you for the first time, no one told me that you're a barrel of a man.
I'm a Donkey Kong.
Dude, you are totally. I wanted to give you the Iron Sheik Club, and I just wanted to see you do that thing with it, dude. Because I totally believe you can. I mean, I'm not a small guy. I mean, I'm 5'10", but I got like a wide frame.
Yeah, you got the weird orangutan arms. Like you're just I saw you through the Twitch party, just walking around and your palms just dragging on the floor with your long ass arms that you got over there.
I know, I do. But yeah, it was great meeting you, man. It was great meeting Wheezy Blonde as well. She really had to tell both of us that she has resigned in one of the biggest moments ever in wrestling history with The Rock coming back, and yeah, it was great.
Yeah, well, you know what? Fine, all right, we'll give her the rub. Wheezy Blonde, go check her out. Go fine. Yeah, she's acceptable. She is fine. But did you have a good time at TwitchCon?
I had a great time in TwitchCon.
You're working though.
That's the one thing about it is I'm always working throughout the entire days of the weekend. I only had one day off, which I did my own panel of parenting and streaming and whatnot. But yeah, I always have a great time. I liked Vegas, but the problem, as someone that goes to quickly aside, is that with TwitchCons, it was too spread out. Everyone was everywhere. And usually in San Diego, everyone's usually goes into one place and you could kind of meet up very easy. But man, I was like trying to meet up somebody. They're like, yeah, I'm at Caesar's Palace. And I was like, well, I'm at the Link and
it sucked.
It's hard.
I'm with you. I did not like Vegas because San Diego, beautiful city. I fell in love with that city at last year's TwitchCon. It's like one strip, maybe like half a mile long. Yeah. It's a nice, cool little district, super hip place where, if there's a get together happening in one bar, the other get together is literally happening across the street or next door. Meanwhile, with Vegas, it was either a long trek of walking and doing that in like the Vegas heat sucked, or getting in an Uber, which was impossible. All right. So Twitch, don't do this in Vegas, please. I didn't like it. But there was a wrestling panel that I was a part of, and that was cool.
I heard about it. I was definitely wanting to be a part of it, but I was working that same time on Sunday. But man, tell me about it.
Dude, what an electric. And also, it was definitely one of you gross Mark jabronis that shook my hand and gave me a hug that got me sick. So thank you for that.
The old chocolate pretzel, huh?
I'm sorry. You're going to need to explain that one.
You know what?
Yeah, you're going to need to explain the old chocolate pretzel.
I'm not going to. Someone in the comments down below explain the chocolate pretzel.
Okay. All right. I'm concerned now, so I'll have to look that up. But yeah, dude, everybody that came out to the panel, there were like 25 people in the audience. You guys felt like 200 with how loud you were, how many questions were asked. No one on the panel could say the word yeah by accident because then the entire room would just break out into LA Night yeahs. One guy before his question says, okay, so what do you want to talk about? I'm like, it's good. So many cool like wrestling inside jokes. It's just a cool community meetup of wrestling fans.
I was going to say, I did have a meeting with Twitch about having access to more WWE stuff. Like if we had the ability to actually have the product on stream, just like we had Thursday Night Football at one time, we actually had the NFL games, they would have a bigger audience. WWE would have a bigger audience because WWE is trying to do its own thing. And they have the pre-shows. Usually for the PLEs, they have the pre-shows on Twitch, if you don't know. It's just not working. So just give the power, the content to the people who make the content at a high level and let us stream your Mondays and Thursday night, whatever you have, or even just NXT. Just give us that. We would do some great things with that.
Yeah, I think if they gave us NXT as a pilot program, we would knock it out of the water as a community. I mean, like it can't hurt. It really, it can only do wonders, especially for NXT, obviously like a PLE or something. I get it. You're trying to get subscriptions over to Peacock. Totally understandable. But something like NXT, like it's not your flagship show that like we can get eyeballs on that aren't already there. I feel like Dynamite and Collision missing a giant opportunity to jump in on this bandwagon and beat the WWE to it. I really see no reason as to why AEW isn't leaning into content creators and taking advantage of them and taking advantage of their audiences. I'm a little bit more understanding of WWE, right? Like they've got, they're old school. They're the big dog in the yard. I get it. But AEW, you should be doing some guerrilla warfare.
Impact is on Twitch sometimes. Impact has its own run, and there's GCW as well.
TNA. TNA.
Now TNA.
How do you feel? And we've got a whole slate of topics here, but how do you feel about the return to greatness back to TNA?
I mean, I'm the kind of guy that really didn't watch a lot of TNA during the AJ Styles or even the Hogan eras. I've seen lots of Jay Lethal. I mean, great stuff from Jay Lethal, right? Especially with Flair. The only thing I remember from TNA the most was that six-sided ring, and I really hope that they bring that back, but I heard they're not going to bring it back. It's a great brand. I remember they had its own video games. If you got to a video game status,
they did.
It should be kept. That brand should be kept going in total nonstop action. I'm glad it's coming back. It just, you know what it needs? It needs talent to be able to like push it forward into the lexicon, back into the fold of wrestling.
Yeah. I think that the talent is getting there, but I think that they just need to continue to get more and more popular. The one thing I do that I've been liking more about Impact than AEW is that Impact has weirdly, not necessarily that they have like their own performance center, but it feels like they have more homegrown talent because they're relying mostly on people from the independents as opposed to AEW that is a lot of former WWE guys. Because that was one of my big gripes with old school Impact, old TNA, that it did become the ex WWE show, right? And that to me is where AEW is going, because when I look at AEW, I'm always sifting through to find like the awesome AEW originals. Like, I love the Ricky Starks, I love the MJFs of the world. Hikaru Shida is great, but it seems like every week it's like ex WWE guys seem to be taking the spotlight week after week.
Yeah. Or New Japan, someone from across the seas, just somebody just to. I mean, we could talk about AEW. We talked about it earlier before, how it had a major. It did not win that Tuesday Night War. So, I mean, I'm not here to kick AEW down.
I am. Not just kidding.
They're losing stars, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, we will definitely be talking about that later. Did you get a chance to watch Will Osprey versus Speedball Mike Bailey, or watch any clips of it?
No, I had not. I have seen Will Osprey wrestle in person in Tokyo. That was amazing.
Okay, yeah.
So just to give you I still got cred. I just didn't watch him today.
Sure. I'm just gonna highly recommend this match. That's all where I was going. If you haven't been able to watch any of TNA's most recent Bound for Glory show, at the very minimum, I think you should do yourself a favor and watch the fantastic match that was Will Osprey versus Speedball Mike Bailey. It was fantastic.
That hidden blade move is gnarly, man.
It's so good, man.
It's gnarly.
It looks good. It looks
brutal, and it's probably really safe.
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
It has to be. Granted, it's elbow to the back of the head, so I don't know how safe it is.
Would you like to see Will Osprey in the WWE? He becomes a free agent in February. Yes.
I heard that he was actually trying to sign with a better agency to get him in a prime position for his new free agent run, so to speak. I like Will Osprey. I think young Will Osprey wouldn't fit in the WWE style, but I think he could definitely configure his current style much better into that WWE style. Kind of reminds me of a Shinsuke Nakamura strong style, a little bit of high flying more than Nakamura. Definitely has the size. The only question is, how is WWE going to book him? Like, he could be great anywhere. You could be great anywhere, actually, but will the WWE properly book you and give you that proper respect? I think Triple H will do a better job than any other past New Japan. The closest they would say is if he gets an AJ Styles push, I think he could definitely handle it. He's great on the mic as well. He would be like, what's the word I'm looking for? He would definitely savor or like quench the thirst that I have for Kenny Omega in WWE. He'd be that kind of like,
I'm with you.
Yeah, like I want Omega, but he's not Omega light. I'm just saying he would be satisfied that want to have someone of that stature in the WWE who could put on a workhorse type of schedule, who could put on main event quality matches that Dave Metzer likes.
Yeah,
right. He could put on those quality matches. But the only thing is, will he have that bravado and power in the promos is always a question for WWE. That's the only thing that separates a great superstar from a WWE superstar, is can they put the promo and the story work behind their work in the ring?
And it has to be the WWE style, right? Because you can be amazing in the ring and in the in promos in the independents or in other organizations, but it's just different in the WWE, right? Because now you aren't just playing to your character, you are playing to a massive audience at home. You are in a giant TV production, and that really does change things quite a bit in terms of like cadence, pacing, what you can say, what you cannot say, what kind of moves you're allowed to do. Because as Tiger Driver 91, take that out of there. He's not going to be allowed to do that. I wouldn't be surprised if they change his hidden blade to a hidden blade to the front as opposed to the back of the head. So there's going to be the WWE-ification of Will Osprey at some point, and people are just going to need to deal with it if it happens.
Look aside, what do you think's the most done WWE finisher as a kid? When I was growing up, we always did the rock bottom. That was the go-to move. We always did that in the bed, bang, rock bottom. What would you say is the top WWE? Because like you can't do the hidden blade.
No.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I think, well, it kind of depends, like on a human. I think it was always the walls of Jericho for me. It was just so easy to like lift legs up, right? So yeah, that was within my group of friends. It was always the walls of Jericho with a pillow. I was always like an F5 guy, but again, I was a kid during the ruthless aggression era years. So that was my go-to. I wasn't F5ing my friends though.
It'd probably be an RKO though. The more I think about it, definitely the RKO out of nowhere is the top mimic.
I'm sure it is. Yeah. Like in RKOs into pools at this point, I think I see them anytime I go to like a water park or something.
Because I don't think anyone's doing Crossroads though. And I'm not, or even the whatever LA Knights thing's called.
Yeah, you don't even know what it's called. You don't even know what it's called. My God, your gimmick is the LA Knight glazer. You're supposed to be running the donut shop and glazing LA Knight, and you don't even know his finisher name.
You know what it should be called? The Knighthood.
The Knighthood?
It looks like he's putting a hood on you, you know? Bang, you know?
Okay.
Come out, dude. What if his WrestleMania moment is him coming out in a night outfit? His logo looks like a trash can. Every time I see it, it looks like a trash can. Like, you ever thought about it? Like in the back?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Like a giant trash can. And I'm like, okay, when are you gonna drop the night in your logo? Like, it's not. He's not on T-shirts. He has the LA. You know, that's on T-shirts, but not the night part of it. I'm getting ahead of myself, but.
This man's trying to hijack this podcast and trying to turn it into an LA Knight rebranding episode. Why?
I gotta get it in.
Oh my goodness.
The thumbnail doesn't show it.
I'm sure you're going to get the opportunity to talk about LA Knight because we're going to be talking about the main topic of the show. We're going to be talking about John Cena's retirement. So the world of professional wrestling went crazy after 1 week of me taking off. All right. I'm never taking off another episode of SmackDown off for a vacation or for TwitchCon because I take one episode off and all of a sudden John Cena's talking retirement. Unacceptable. I'm not okay with this. John Cena should not be allowed to retire. He should be a forever presence in the WWE. But it seems like they're gearing towards a potential John Cena retirement. He did give us the razzle dazzle. All right. You know, he made us look left and then he ended up going right with that retirement. But I don't know, man. Cena is not the type to bring up something and not really follow through with it. I could definitely see this retirement happening very, very soon. Unless it's bringing WrestleMania to London. Bunch of jabronis. It's not going there.
I wish it was, if he were to do a retirement segment, he should come out in a salmon jacket.
Yes.
Just for the love for Mark Henry. What I really enjoyed about that speech that he gave on SmackDown, the promo, it really was leaning into his acting ability, which people don't understand. Or if you have not been following his Hollywood career, he is now getting better at it. His Peacemaker run is fantastic. I like how I'm calling it's a run as if he's a gimmick. His Peacemaker role was fantastic, and I was waiting for when is John gonna show his acting chops, his drama, the drama side of him, and he really nailed it. Because it got you really believing that he's going to retire. I don't think John's going to retire anytime soon. And I don't think he should because he hasn't put in a lot of ring work this run. It's very minimal, except when he was getting beat down in the PLE. But in terms of like the SmackDown, he hasn't really wrestled a lot.
Okay.
He's probably wrestled like once or twice in the entire like 8 shows we have him, or 6 shows we have him so far. And he could still put people over either in the ring or with his promo work. Don't give me that smile.
It sounds like you wanna hook up John Cena to some sort of milk machine and milk him for whatever he's got left in him.
He needs to return the bad karma that he's been shoveling people down and burying people as Super Cena. Yes.
Are you kidding? That's all he's been doing for the past 8 years.
You brought this out of me.
No, okay? John Cena has been the My Name is Stop. John Cena has been the My Name is Earl of WWE. He's bringing it back. He's bringing back good karma back into the world. He's putting people over, youngsters, giving your bum-ass LA Knight who couldn't do anything for the first 20 years of his career his good rub finally and pushing him to the top. And this is how you treat him? You want to hook him up to some sort of lab machine and just milk him?
Yes, like in the Matrix. Put him to turn into that battery. Let him get all that juice out of it, because that's what the business is all about. We need Cena's juice. You understand? We need it all. It is prime. It is great. It works really well. And that's what makes John Cena great, because he's not here for himself, Santi. And that's what I had my opening revelation moment is John Cena's not for himself. He's not, again, I love The Rock, but bro, you just show up, you get your pops, you get your catchphrase, and then you leave. Like, we get it. And that's okay, Rock. That's who you are. We get it, Dwayne. I love that about you, because you still give me that nostalgia pop that I've always wanted. It's like a B12 shot that I need in my life. But John Cena is about the business, and if he's going to retire, it needs to be like a Flair. It needs to be like an HBK. And even not like Undertaker. Undertaker retired like 4 or 5 times.
So did Flair.
Yeah, but I'm talking about that one match with Flair.
Sure. Yeah, he got his WWE send-off for sure.
His HBK match, but that's the thing. I don't see John going anywhere else. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be another promotion.
He has no need for it. He
doesn't need to. He's not going to make his own promotion. But I do not see him retiring anytime soon.
Okay.
He's too hot right now, because now the people love him. He's not Cena sucks anymore.
People sing his song.
They sing his song now, which he thought was like, he's like, what? People actually sing my song now? So it's a huge error for John Cena, and I think that we can't stop it just at one SmackDown run and a couple of PLEs. It needs to end at a Mania.
Yeah. I agree with you. Now let's indulge the audience. Let's pretend that John Cena retirement is impending. The impending doom and gloom is right there. Your boy Santi's going to enter into a catatonic state, a glass case of emotion per se. Once John Cena retires, I was not ready for my midlife crisis this soon. So let's pretend that he does retire. Is this the biggest retirement match in WWE history? What do you think?
No.
How could you possibly say that? You're disgusting. You disgust me.
It's my opinion.
It's a gross opinion. I hate it, and I need to throw it down the skin. Okay, go. Tell me why. How is this not the biggest retirement match?
I wouldn't think that it is, because in the modern era, I feel. I mean, maybe John would actually retire, right? Like, legitly. He's not going to be one of these guys that retires and comes back later.
Yeah, I would think that if John Cena has a retirement match, that's it. I don't think you see him again.
That's the one thing that in the back of my mind, I'd be like, no, he's going to come out somewhere at a Royal Rumble, which is still, I think, if you retire and you come out at a Royal Rumble, that's fine to me.
You're still retired. You're still retired. I'm with you.
I still think HBK and Ric Flair, it was a fantastic match, even though Ric Flair never retired at the time, and how serious that Shawn Michaels treated that Undertaker retirement match. Mm-hmm. I think that held up for so long. Granted, the Saudis brought it out in Crown Jewel, but that's the kind of thing, again, we talked about it countless times. Crown Jewel, probably this year is the only time it's going to be canon, but the rest of the time, I don't feel like it is.
Night of Champions was pretty canon. New World Heavyweight Champion, Bloodline implosion.
Yeah, but I do feel that for me would probably be bigger than John Cena. If you want to ask me of all time, probably be Roman, man. If you really, really think about the undisputed champion, the tribal chief, multiple 1,000 days plus of being champion, the lineage, and the kind of just because he feels like he's still a WWE guy.
Sure.
John Cena right now feels like a global icon. He's beyond. He's Hollywood too, you know? And John Cena won't disappear. He will continue to be in the lexicon. He will be in TV. He'll be in movies. He won't be missed because you'll see him. It'd be like a Rock situation. You'd be like, oh man, I remember. I can't wait for you to make your appearance back at a Raw or something.
Okay.
So, if he was gonna disappear forever, yes, but he won't though. Santi, he won't.
I feel like you bastardized my question here though, because I think that you did, because all of a sudden you're pulling out retirement matches that don't even exist, that haven't even happened. I'm asking like existing retirement matches. Would this be the big?
You can't ask me that because I don't even know Hogan didn't have a retirement match.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's part of the layers of this question. Stone Cold never had one.
Never had one. That's what I mean. It's like you're talking about Mount Rushmore, right? We're talking about Mount Rushmore. John Cena's definitely on Mount Rushmore. He would be the only one
besides George Washington.
Besides a Flair, besides HBK with retirement matches that legitly had one. Randy Orton hasn't had one. Batista hasn't had one. The Undertaker has 4 or 5, so he ruined that, whatever that was going to be, right? So who's left of the GOATs that hasn't have an official retirement match? The Rock, Stone Cold, and Hogan, right? And Hogan's still running around. So
yeah, but at this point, if any of those 3 were to have a retirement match, like you'd be like, okay, weird.
Besides The Rock.
Really? Like, you think like a Rock retirement match from the WWE, obviously it'd be big, but like I don't think it would have the level of emotion than somebody like a John Cena or a Roman Reigns or Randy Orton retiring. I just don't see it anymore. Like, because
let me ask you this:
Sure.
as the biggest John Cena fan that I know personally,
on the
planet, what would that mean to you? Like, walk through that to me. John Cena retires. This is a retirement match. What's your emotions going into that? And it's at a Mania. Are you going to Mania to watch him retire? Thoughts?
That is the death of my innocence in childhood. You're wanting me to talk about the death of the child inside me.
I want you to express it to our audience. How important is Cena to you?
He's incredibly important to me. Like, I know I look like a 43-year-old retired Dominican baseball player, but I'm 30 years old.
I'm John Cena.
Oh, hey, Jan. I fall right in line with as being that kid that grew up from his rags to riches story, right? I was 9 years old when 8 Mile came out, and I didn't fully understand the ramification of like that being like a rated R movie and whatnot. I just thought it's like hip hop culture was the thing for me. All right. It was cool to dress like Eminem. It was cool to be part of that hip hop culture. So to see a wrestler at that time personify that in the one thing that I love, that I could geek out about, I immediately gravitated to John Cena. So John Cena, right off the offset of my childhood, immediately connected with my love for hip hop and the hip hop culture. So if you grew up in that, like, you immediately gravitated to John Cena. So I also got to see the rise of John Cena throughout my entire childhood, into my teen years, into my adult years. I was never that child that got to see John Cena bury the Nexus. I was already an adult, right? I was never a child when I got to see him, come out in his Americana entrance at WrestleMania 31. I was already an adult. All of my memories of John Cena are so, I don't know, like, so genuine, because I feel like I grew up with the character of John Cena. If that makes sense, right? When I was a kid, his gimmicks were just germinating, right? And as I grew up, the John Cena popularity got to go up. So I never got to hate John Cena, right? I never got tired of John Cena because I was there along for the entire ride. So to see John Cena get taken out of the equation is it's like removing a major hard drive from my brain, a major piece of wrestling history being removed that, sure, I can go access and watch videos of again, but it'd be like this like vacuum that's just left there that I don't know what I would fill with. because, and I don't think I could fill it again, just like how people aren't able to fill the void of when Stone Cold left, and that's why they still to this day refuse to even hear an argument that Stone Cold isn't the greatest of all time, because when Stone Cold left, there was no one that could fill that void. I've yet to have that, and I'm about to. That's what that would mean for me. And I don't know what that's going to lead to. Am I going to become this gatekeeper wrestling fan for the children of the future? Oh, this Braun Breaker, dude, you don't even understand what it was like to be there for the John Cena run, okay? The hottest wrestler of all time. I sound like every attitude. I'm going to sound like every Attitude Era Mark, because that's exactly how you all sound when people say anything that remotely arguing that Stone Cold isn't the greatest of all time. I'm fearing that I'm going to turn into that. Would I go to his retirement match? I think I would splurge for front row seats for that.
Okay. Now, who would be the opponent?
Great question. Depends on what your end goal is here, right? I don't think that the end goal of a John Cena retirement should be to put over younger talent. I don't think anyone that isn't an established megastar could bear that burden, right? You look at Shawn Michaels. Who retired Shawn Michaels? It wasn't the up and coming Dolph Ziggler. It wasn't even a John Cena who was still on his rise up. It was already an established guy. It was the Undertaker, dude, right? Who retired Ric Flair? Another legend of the business in Shawn Michaels. If you put the burden of retiring arguably the greatest of all time on like a Braun Breaker, who I think out of all of the young guys is like 20-something-year-olds is probably the best option, you are pigeonholing the rest of his career as a bad guy. He can't ever be a good guy ever again. He ended John Cena. So I think it has to be somebody that either has legacy with him or an already established megastar. Immediately what comes to mind is Randy Orton in terms of legacy. And I would love to see some sort of recreation of an end of an era match. And personally, I wish Edge would have been involved in that. But he's over there cosplaying as some jabroni named Adam Copeland in AEW. I think that's a great option. I think if we're looking to solidify the next top face of the company for your next decade, I think Cody Rhodes is the right option here. If you're looking to solidify a legend, I think Roman Reigns is a great option. And if you're looking to, because I said something about Braun Breaker that now you're a forever heel, if you're trying to establish the next great forever heel, I think Gunther is a great option as well. What do you think?
I'm sorry. I'm just really thinking about that moment where John Cena takes off his boots and he puts them on the mat and he walks away and takes off his armbands.
His sneakers.
And his sneakers, yeah, and he walks away.
And he will not come back.
That's what I think. He won't come back. There's no, I mean, he puts too much respect in him. I agree with a lot of that you said, but what I'm mad about is you didn't mention LA Knight in that conversation.
I made a video.
But I'm just saying.
No, you're 100% right. So I made a video that's already up on my YouTube channel talking about the options for our John Cena retirement match. And my argument, so I talked about like, okay, do you want to establish legacy? Are you trying to establish another legend, another heel, top babyface? When I said top babyface in that video, I said it's either LA Knight or Cody Rhodes. I think in terms of storyline wise, right now, the best positioned person for that is LA Knight. Are you willing to put your eggs on the basket of the 40-something-year-old LA Knight to be your top babyface? I think you could. I think he still has a lot of time left. But I think the safer choice is Cody Rhodes.
But he's not the right one to finish John's story. I mean, for the people that already watched your video, I'm sure they got where you're coming from. The only thing the only one that makes sense is Randy Orton. That's the only one in my mind. It's the best one out of it because people won't have any animosity towards Randy, even if he beats Randy Orton.
Wait. What if Edge was still here? Would you think a triple threat?
Well, triple threat. Yeah. And then you can even have all three of them retire at the same time if you wanted to. It's just with John Cena, it has to be at Mania, and it doesn't have to be for a belt. I think that would be a mistake if they try to make it for a belt. And it needs to be in a place where John Cena would actually thrive in the most. I think it could be almost anywhere, but Boston would probably be the best place for him to retire.
Do you think that this retirement match is big? And now that WrestleMania is 2 nights, do you think it's big enough? Again, depending on whether or not Roman Reigns is still doing his 4,000 plus days. Let's pretend it's a world where Roman has already lost his title, right? We're back to the status quo.
LA Knight.
Sure. Okay. All right. I'll let you have this. I'll let you have this hypothetical dream. We're back to a world where championship reigns are 100 to 300 days.
Mm-hmm.
A John Cena retirement match in that moment in time, is that big enough to main event night 2 of WrestleMania?
Yes.
I agree.
He's the GOAT. If you're calling him the GOAT now, you're calling him the greatest of all time. You need to have, he's a generational talent. You got to give him his due. I think the closest one that would have been besides Roman would have been RIP Bray Wyatt. If Bray Wyatt would have, I think Bray, he would have figured it out. He would have figured out what he was doing, or the WWE would have figured out what, they would have found a way or some kind of a place for him to, a vehicle for him to rise again. And Bray would have been one of the biggest retirements of all time, and one of them.
Like retiring Cena?
No. I'm just talking about when
Bray Wyatt would eventually. Okay, right, I thought you were making the argument that because unironically, I think I would have worked, and I think that Firefly Funhouse match. I think that was actually kind of like the greatest retirement send-off ever, even though it wasn't a retirement match. I loved the retrospect of John Cena's career that was told there. That only works in a pandemic world, because imagine going to WrestleMania and watching a screen for a main event, right? Like that wouldn't work. But unironically, I think that's such a great retelling of John Cena's career.
It was really cool. It made NWO John Cena real, so that was really cool.
Yeah, you got heel John Cena.
I love it.
But I think the biggest retirement would definitely be at this moment with how hot he is, Akira Tozawa. I'm not sure if you've been following his training regimen. He's been in the hyperbolic time chamber getting ready. Ultra Instinct Tozawa is here to dethrone the tribal chief. I didn't actually have this in my notes, but do you think that there's something budding here, like, because right now he just went down to NXT and is now feuding for the Heritage Cup over there, which is pretty funny. But do you see a world where we get I'm not even saying he needs to beat Gunther, but a world where he gives Gunther a crazy 20-minute match out of nowhere, and it ends up in arguably Gunther's most competitive match of all time? I just feel like this training is going somewhere, man. Ultra Instinct Tozawa.
I believe Tozawa should be a huge lesson in life, that when you get an inch, take that inch as hard as you can, because it will lead to the mile that you're looking for. Like, really think about it. Phrasing, perhaps. Yeah. But no, but really think about 100%,
it.
That man has only, his run right now has grown because of that one moment with Shayna Baszler. Yeah. That one moment that he gave Shayna has now grown to this conversation that Santi has in his mind, the power of Tozawa. And he had a great match with Bronson Reed, even though he lost, but he had great moments. What I like about Tozawa, he's a comedic wrestler without the forcefulness of Santino. Santino, you know, it's not that. It's not like, hey, he is comedic wrestler. He just happens to have comedic moments. I think Tozawa should take out John Cena.
You know what? I don't hate it. I actually, that's who I ended the video on. I said it should be Tozawa.
I knew it.
Yeah.
You're such a Tozawa mark.
Dude,
man.
I'm the biggest Tozawa mark right now. But I like the idea of some sort of like training arc for him where he genuinely becomes he doesn't win, but I think he could become an entertaining threat.
Could you give him a Hulk move, like a hulking up moment? We haven't had a wrestler in a long time utilize the classic Hulk. The last one would have been Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
He was the only one that I kind of remember. He had like a light Hulk fucking up moment?
Sure. Why, dude, give him everything. He should just collect the Infinity Stones of Mount Rushmore of WWE. He should have a Hulk moment, an Austin moment, a Cena moment, Taker moment. He should, yes, sure. All of them. Where I was going with this is, oh my God, I had a thought here about Tozawa that I wanted to hit home. It's gone.
Okay.
It's gone.
Okay, I'll help you.
Yes.
Does Tozawa win a belt in 2024? Whether tag team title, does he win a belt?
I could see him winning a tag title. I could definitely see it. Okay, I know where I was going with this. All right.
Yeah, totally. Okay. I brought you back in.
Thank you. There is precedent for a comedic role getting so big that it leads to a massive victory. Were you around? I know people watching were definitely around for the amazing, legendary comedic backstage moments between the Hurricane and 2003 Hollywood Rock.
Yes.
It led to the Hurricane beating the Rock right before WrestleMania 19. It was
like 1, 2, 3 Kid over Razor Ramon.
Yeah, I could see a moment like that for Tozawa where he gets some sort of major victory over some sort of major player. I think that major player is Gunther. Honestly.
It has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why they put him in with Alpha Academy. It kind of makes sense. But again, he's given the ball and he's running with the ball. And it could be just an HB dive play that's supposed to get 2 yards, but he ends up getting 10 yards out of that play. And now they're giving the rock more to Tozawa for the football fans out there. And that's what all people should see that. And that's what I liked about that one thing that The Miz said. You ever heard that thing from The Miz said? He's like, I don't care if I have 1 minute.
Yes.
I don't care if I have one segment. It's going to be the best segment of that show. And that's what Tozawa is doing without making it abundantly clear that he is taking over. You know who else is taking over? Ivar. And I know we're kind of going all over the place.
Yeah, welcome to the Wrestling is Cool podcast, baby.
That vignette of Ivar, I was like, all right, I get the idea. Double down on the Viking gimmick.
That's what we liked about him.
But I wrote a note when the Raw was that vignettes are really great for getting corny gimmicks over. If you have a corny gimmick, you better have some vignettes to add that mystique. So I'm hoping we get more witches, man. Well, I'm surprised. Halloween's here, and where's the witches?
I think we get the witches this episode of Friday Night SmackDown or on Monday Night Raw. I think that we do get the witches.
So.
Yeah,
give them witches.
I'm down for that. Oh God, I'm sorry for audio listeners. I'm still dying over here. Breaking news while we're recording this.
Hold on.
It broke about an hour ago. WWE Premium Live event next August happening in Berlin. Clash at Berlin or Bash at Berlin. And Gunther is tweeted out party emojis to it. Do we see Gunther going in as a champion or challenging for a championship then? Also, Berlin is an interesting city. That's not the one I'd go with in Germany. I would have gone with Munich. I feel like they had the better infrastructure for this, but whatever. I don't know. I'm not a city planner.
Munich didn't pay enough. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. Great, dude.
Yeah.
Like, why not? There's a lot of great fans, and it's our turn to start waking up at 6 to 7 in the morning to watch a PLE. I don't know what time we have to get up for that one, but I'm excited. I mean, Gunther, I like you know what it kind of reminds me of? It just hit me. Street Fighter. Every wrestler has a home
I like
turf.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. This is Gunther's home turf, dude. Let's get some matches. Let's get some of the UK NXT out there. Let's get some. What is that? That boy in NXT, the champion. What's his name again?
Dragunov.
Dragunov. I always butcher names, so that's why I refer to you for that.
Well, I'd be interested in the. I think they'd keep Dragunov off. He's Russian, and there's a lot of things going on over there between all of that. So, don't want to touch that.
We'll put it. Make him Drago out there.
I must break you.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, that's really exciting. I think what's interesting is that WWE is learning that they could have backlash moments everywhere around the world.
Yeah.
They're not going to beat that Puerto Rican crowd, though. I tell you that, brother. That Puerto Rican crowd was white hot. Got so white hot, Bad Bunny got a DLC in the WWE 2K game. You know, that's how hot it got.
He was already in the game.
Doesn't matter.
I know. No. It's just that DLC is just like, okay, all right. I mean, I'll take it. It's just another entrance and a skin, but okay.
They should. They need to give him Champea. They need to give him that.
Did they not give him that?
Champea. No, they need. Well, of course they wouldn't give him Champea.
Oh, what's the point of this DLC then? That's lame.
I don't know how to the word.
Dude, I speak Spanish and I don't even know what he's saying. All right.
Yeah, that was still. I still get goosebumps thinking about that PLE.
That might be the best entrance in the last 10 years. It's so good. The drone flying, people losing their minds, singing. It's too good. It's also too unique because you can have an amazingly produced entrance, right? Yeah. I think it's fair to say Undertaker most iconic entrance, but that's produced. True. That is a team putting that together.
I mean, I did like Roman with the pianos at WrestleMania. But
again, beautiful, but produced. Right. It was meant to be amazing. This was organic. There was no production behind it aside from the pyro and the drone. That was the crowd just making that an amazing moment. That's why it stands out to me.
Bad Bunny looked great too. No one else. He looked jacked.
Champea.
And again, shout outs to Damian Priest for protecting Bad Bunny because there was a lot of bumps during that match. Ugh. But yes, Gunther's gonna have. It won't be that pop off. It won't be that pop, but it'd be something like it.
You think so? Nah. All right. Well, let's.
You need to make him like an army entrance. Give him an army if he shows up. Because he's a ring in a
Yes. Oh, dude, I would love that. One of my favorite WrestleMania entrances of all time is Rusev coming out in a tank to the Russian national anthem. It's so good.
That's not all that happened.
That's not all that happened in that tank. Ooh, we'll keep that one for you guys to Google. Becky Lynch is cool. All right, we've got a couple of blank is cool segments for today. We won't spend too much time on these, but I wanted to give a shout out to Becky Lynch. She is so cool. She is arguably the most iconic women's wrestler of all time, at the very least in the Mount Rushmore in the conversation. This woman won the NXT Women's Championship in a great match, in a rematch with Tiffany Stratton, put on probably the best women's match of the year in that Extreme Rules match. Then she would go on to have multiple championship matches with the likes of Tegan Nox, Indy Hartwell, the young up and comer Natalya, of course, because she needs more opportunities. And then,
by the way, Natalya is looking great for her age right now in terms of in the ring.
She's cooking. Yeah. She's like she's hitting a second renaissance. She's definitely hitting a second renaissance.
In youth or something. I don't know.
Absolutely. And then goes down to NXT and does the job clean to Lyra Valkyria, dropping the NXT Women's Championship. Sancho, enough. You're done. Corner. Go to the corner.
Arm drag.
For those listening to audio, he's giving me stink face because he's mad that she lost with an arm drag roll up.
What happened to like Super Becky? You hit her with like 10 finishers and put her like underneath the. Okay, I don't want to hijack your opening segment to this segment, but Becky's NXT run should be the way championship run should be. Not like Roman, not like Seth. Not like the Gunther. It needs to be like this because what ends up happening is the men's division, I feel, is stagnant and suffocating because there's no movement with the belts. But Becky's run, even though short-lived, did a great run and keeps the legacy of the NXT belt alive and introduces us to new people.
Yeah.
And that's why LA Knight should beat Roman Reigns and Crown Jewel. That belt needs to move. I don't care if LA Knight loses it the next day. Move that belt around, okay? But yes, Becky Lynch is cool, and I agree with you because she did the job, and she understands the business. She could have, dude. I thought she was gonna hold on to that belt for 6 months.
Don't think I'm just gonna be okay with you hijacking my Becky Lynch's cool segment to glaze LA Knight. This man just steered us into. You think I don't know what you just did? You just took us to your glazing factory, and then let's go back to the Becky Lynch stuff. Don't think I'm okay with you just giving us this detour all of a sudden, and I'm not gonna call it out.
Over here we have Becky Lynch. And check out LA Knight right into the store. No, but yes, I no, that's what I mean. Like this, I cannot think of another title ring that's mean much more. Even Rhea Ripley's not doing anything.
No, nothing
with her belt. Even Io Sky is not doing anything with the belt. Even the undisputed tag team champions.
Gunther
is because his job was to elevate the Intercontinental. NXT, you mentioned it. You said it in the opening part of this segment. She's introduced a lot of talent to the world. I mean, Tiffany Stratton's definitely on my radar now, and then of course
Lyra,
the Ira as well.
Yeah,
but I just thought Super Becky should have came out there for a moment. But
yeah.
I enjoy that wrestling still can be technical, and I think a lot of people are forgetting that part about wrestling is. And when I watch old school wrestling, and like as I'm going through all the Survivor Series at a slow pace, granted, when I watch those old school '80s wrestling, and even the early '90s, it's all about technical. You could lose to a schoolboy roll up, you could lose to like a different kind of pin. I feel that modern day wrestling, the schoolboy roll up and all that kind of stuff, is not as executed cleanly as it was in past. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
When Bret Hart did it, it was like, holy crap, it came out of nowhere.
British Bulldog beating Bret Hart in Wembley, 93,000 people at SummerSlam with a roll up.
And people appreciate it because it's like, aha, you bested him.
Yes.
You tricked them. You use technical prowess. And you know, if I had to put down the troll in me, that winning that way against Becky Lynch does work as well. And it provides that, oh my God, did that just happen?
Yeah, and I can't think of at least in a while, a main roster superstar of this caliber coming down to NXT and losing clean, dropping the title clean. Charlotte didn't do it. She lost in a triple threat. She was not the one that was pinned. New Day didn't do it. I think they lost in a fatal 4-way tag team match, and they weren't the ones that were pinned. And this felt like it was Becky's call. It almost felt like like she probably had. They were probably pitched numerous outs of her to lose, without it being like fully clean, some sort of distraction from someone, and
she puts her foot on the rope and the ref doesn't see it.
Sure. It felt like, I feel like she probably had many outs and she didn't take them. And I really appreciate that. And I think it did wonders for the women's division. By the way, NXT Halloween Havoc Night 1, don't know if you caught this, 5 women's matches in 2 hours. Women's wrestling is cooking. Becky Lynch is cool. And now Sancho special surprise. Oh, not yet?
I was going to say, and Jade Cargill makes an appearance.
Yes, with a throne. Oh, she looks great.
And she flexed.
Yeah, dude, that flex, it was like watching 3D television. They just popped.
I know. It's crazy. All right.
Sancho special surprise.
Who is the best WWE wrestler to be Batman? I'll start with my list. What? Here we go. 1, Cody Rhodes. 2, Edge. 3, Scott Hall. 4, Steve Blackman. 5, The $1 Million Man. Who is on your list of people that are in the WWE that could be Batman?
That could be or beat?
No, be Batman.
Okay. So they are. Oh, okay.
If you think about it, Cody has the looks.
Sure.
And when I was watching him do a promo, I was like, dude, this guy could be like a Bruce Wayne type vibe. He's more of that anime type Batman, because he has that anime look to him. And then Edge, I just felt like for some reason has the stature of Batman. Like he just could fill out the suit really well. Scott Hall, he has the mug, that chin for Batman.
He does have the Batman chin. He has the Batman chin.
He will look, and he has the stature, and he will look great. And Steve Blackman just has the kung fu style, He looks like he could kick you like Batman. And then Ted DiBiase has the money to be Batman, Bruce Wayne.
I think
Ted DiBiase Batman.
Yeah, anytime he beats somebody. I mean, I think the right answer is just a combination of all of them. Like that True. Is the right answer. But if I have to pick, I'm shocked you don't have LA Knight in here, because Bruce Wayne is this big personality outside of the Batman shtick. Right. And we have seen LA Knight put on a costume and be somebody entirely different in Max Dupree. So he has the ability to go incognito.
He
has a chin for it. I'm shocked you didn't take this opportunity to give LA Knight the Batman rub.
Because maybe I wanted you to give him the rub, and therefore
you played me,
proving me that I'm right.
You played me.
Anyone else that you have before we move on to the next segment?
Oh man, well now I'm thinking of like Batman villains, because I think like Bray Wyatt's Scarecrow would be a right. A great Joker. I guess Seth Rollins maybe with his dances.
Dancing.
Yeah. I could definitely see Tozawa being Batman too, though.
Okay, wow. Okay, of course. I was gonna say Batista as Bane, but okay.
Batista's Bane does actually fit the mold very, very well.
Or Brock Lesnar as Clayface.
Brock Brock Lesnar is Clayface. That's great.
You know who beat Penguin?
Who?
Paul Heyman.
Yes, absolutely. That is perfect. Well,
that is perfect.
Roman has the chin for Batman too.
You know what else you could be Batman?
What?
The Stinger. The Stinger could be Batman. Wrestling is cool, and Sting is cool. And unfortunately, for those of you who don't know, in AEW, he announced that he's going to retire. Now, this one's different from a John Cena retirement, which is quite interesting that the Hall of Famer, both Hall of Famers, are teasing retirements, but I think Sting is pretty serious.
I would think so.
I think the bummer for me about Sting's retirement is that it came at a moment where I feel like he would have got more out of the tank if he didn't wrestle the way he wrestled in AEW for a good while. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, he turned into Jeff Hardy in AEW.
I know. Like, they could have definitely had him for another, 3 years easy with a much more safer style wrestling, but that's not Sting. And that's what makes Sting cool, is Sting understands, for those of you who don't know, Sting, when he first started, was Surfer Sting. Blonde hair, bright face, colored paint, the company man for WCW, was essentially like the John Cena of his time. Just someone that was super over, looked great, and had all the makings of a superstar back in the day. He found a renaissance, and oddly enough, it was Scott Hall that gave him that renaissance, that told him that he should be like the Crow, and then he became the hero. And what I loved about Sting during that time is he was the reason why you watched Monday Night Nitro, WCW Nitro. He was the only reason why, because you wanted to see what can Sting do against the NWO. The NWO were like this thuggish, bullying faction that will just derail an entire show every time on Monday Night Nitro. Like, every time, you get guaranteed, you would know it doesn't matter what the main event's going to be. NWO is going to come in and spray paint someone's back, beat them up. People are going to throw trash in it. Just the visual of it was amazing. And guess who came from the rafters? The Stinger, dude. Sting in his white face paint.
Sting!
And he had that duster, and he came down with a ball bat, and he would just clear house with it. And they did some great stuff with WCW Sting. And iconic things for WCW Sting. Granted, at the end, they never really... Sting was kind of sidelined for Goldberg for a while. And Sting then became Wolfpack Sting, and then wasn't the same. The red paint, it looked weird. But beyond that, when he went to TNA, and it became
great run.
Variety of Sting, and even the Joker Sting, as we talked about, someone from the Batman's villains. I just feel like it's a kind of a bummer, because when he came back to the WWE, or when he was first in the WWE, you thought, okay, this is good. Sting finally gets a WrestleMania moment. Sting finally gets what it's like, but he was treated again just like fodder, unfortunately, just like when Booker T came over from WCW, like all WCW talent.
Yeah, it's it almost felt like he thought he could get away with being treated like that WCW foreigner because it'd been, 12 plus years, and Vince still had that grudge and waited for him.
Yeah, and that was what that to me is what makes his retirement a bummer. Granted, I know in AEW that version of Sting, which was a miracle that he was able to wrestle the way he did, right? A miracle that he was able to put on those caliber matches and those death-defying moves, and put Darby Allin a little bit more over with the casual wrestling fans that introduce him to us. I think he works great as that mentor, but for him to retire, it's kind of a bummer, because he will go down as one of those ones that never really reached his full potential.
I have a question here. Mr. Santi's app from Wrestling is Cool.
Yeah.
Now that TNA is coming back, would you like to see him have a match under the TNA banner with how great of a career he had in TNA, being a TNA Hall of Famer, as part of this retirement tour?
I mean, I hope TNA is smart enough to bring Sting back for it, and Sting could get one last big payday. That would be great for Sting. I mean, I don't know who he would wrestle. I think if WWE would be cool, If they say bring back AJ Styles, let him wrestle Sting one last time in that kind of a way.
I feel like WWE doesn't deserve Sting.
I know. That's what I'm trying to tell you is that Sting, throughout his entire career, has always been the second guy, and it's a bummer because he is the caliber. It's sad to say that he's on no one's Mount Rushmore, but at one time he was considered the greatest of all time, and he was considered the best. And when he had that match with Triple H at WrestleMania, Sting is on par with Triple H. That is the quality of it. But the WWE never gave him that footing that he deserved. Never.
My dog agrees with you. I'm sure you heard him there.
Agrees.
Yeah,
Dwayne agrees.
Dwayne agrees. That's the thing, man. Like, I feel like I don't have this connection to Sting because of his lack of time in the WWE, which I think is part of the reason why he's not in many people's conversation for GOAT, right? Like, you know, if we're talking about like other sports, you wouldn't consider somebody from the USFL to be the GOAT if they didn't have a great career in the NFL as well.
Well, that's the thing with Sting.
It sucks.
He was a loyal man. He did not leave for the longest time. And then when WCW was bought out from WWE, he didn't go to WWE. He left and did the TNAs and all those other kind of promotions. So that's the thing about it is people should look into Sting. People should watch old school WCW Sting, even his blonde surfer days, to see how great of an impact and the draw he had and the silliness that he got into. The best song was like one of my favorite moments is Sting. There's a guy in the crowd with a Sting mask. He takes it off, and it's Sting underneath the Sting mask. Like that's what I mean. That's the hilarity and hijinks that Sting would get into, and then Joker Sting is a whole other thing. The Ringmaster Sting. So, and that's what bums me out, man. Is just when I saw his retirement, and I was caught it online, and it's not in front of the big crowd that he deserves. And it's not a knock against AEW. This is Sting's choice of where he did it. He could have easily done it anywhere else at a PLE to have a bigger crowd. It's just going to be one of those woulda, coulda, shoulda guys. And unfortunately, there's a lot of these guys in wrestling. But to know that Stinger, in my mind, is at least a top 25 talent when he easily could have been a top 10 talent.
Yeah.
It just shows you that booking's very powerful. Like
100%
is very powerful, and injuries play a factor. They play a role. I mean, he's gonna go down as the Derrick Rose of the wrestling world.
Oh, that's a great comparison. That is a great comparison. Yeah, man. Like
or maybe the Grant Hill.
Grant Hill. What I was gonna say was like that WWE run. Like I think that it like knocked him down a peg. I felt like he needed to go back to AEW to remove the stench of whatever WWE did to him. And it sucks, man, because like you said, like in many regards, like for the really like super ingrained smart wrestling fans, like he's in people's Mount Rushmore. But yeah, like the wider audience, the more casual audience as well, he's not even in the conversation for a top 10.
NWO would not be a thing without Sting.
Because they needed a foil, and they had their foil in Sting 100%.
In a supernatural thing. That's what I mean. Remember when everyone was like, "Oh, Sting might come to the WWE." Who should have faced Sting? The Taker, dude. It should have been Taker versus Sting. Granted, Undertaker at the time was not in his best shape of his career.
He wasn't in his worst though. It still could have been fine.
And they fed him to Triple H, man.
Yeah, and in a daytime match. Oh. You know, like imagine a proper Sting entrance at WrestleMania in the dark.
Dude, we were robbed of Sting's like later years. Sting had the moment where he came. Remember, Triple H comes out, hits the pedigree, rolls Dolph Ziggler, bam, put Seth Rollins, right? I think that's what it was. Put Seth Rollins' arms on him, and then Sting's hit, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, he's finally here. It's the Stinger. And I think that, granted, I know they probably had more ideas for him, but just what it could have, man. There's not much left to say, but Sting is cool.
That's where we can leave it at. Sting is cool. I think that sentence alone, I think, says a lot, and I think is actually very representative of Sting's career, because Because he's just cool. He's just a cool dude. He's a cool character. His body needs to be studied. How he's doing the things that he does at 60 plus years old is mind boggling to me.
DDP yoga, man. DDP yoga.
Is that what it is? Is he a DDP?
No,
okay, I was going to say, is he like, you sold me. You sold me on it because I've seen DDP yoga bring people back to life, basically. So I wouldn't have been surprised. Have you ever done
DDP yoga?
Never.
Oh, dude, it's a lot of yoga poses with a lot of static stretching and poses, but with dynamic movement. So you're like, because he has the things called, I don't know what it is, like, do the breathe in and then hook it out.
I got it, dude. Maybe one day for a Patreon, I'll do an hour of DDP yoga.
I would love it.
Patreon.com/SantiZap. New heat order. How are things looking? I feel like I'm behind on wrestling, man.
We are behind on a lot of things, but the great things about the new heat order is that it's always based on the last slot of shows, the last week of shows. If you're new to the show, the new heat order is an established order created by me and Santi Zap, where we determine who has the buzz, who has the heat, who has the fun, and we last left off before the last PLE, so there's a lot of shifting. Let me just go through the last PLE of fun that we had with new heat order, and it was, we had LA Knight and the Bloodline, John Cena. Okay, LA Knight 1, Bloodline 2, John Cena 3, Drew McIntyre 4, Jay and Cody, that's just showing you how old it is, Jay and Cody 5, 6 Rhea Ripley, 7 Jay Cargill, 8 Dominic, 9 Seth Rollins, 10 Ivar, 11 New Day, 12 LWO, 13 Bronson Reed, 14 Nia Jax, 15 Raquel, 16 Baszler, 17 Nakamura, 18 Street Business, 19 Evo Sky, 20 Becky Lynch, and then we have Sami Zayn, Kane Owens, and Tozawa. So that's where we are, where we last left off, because we ran out of time.
Dude, we put in Tozawa in as a meme. And
we read it.
Yes.
That's what I mean. The new heat order knows all. So for this one, we're just going to wipe the slate clean, start anew, because we missed on a lot. Who is the hottest guy or gal in wrestling today?
It's LA Knight.
Let me hear you say it one more time. LA Knight. Yeah. LA Knight.
It's LA Knight, yeah.
Dude, that guy is heat magnet, man.
100%, man. He's cooking right now. He's not going to win against Roman Reigns. But
Paul Heyman, yes, he will. Yes, he will. That Paul Heyman segment proved to me that he's worthy, much worthy now, because Paul Heyman doesn't mess around with that much talent. And Paul Heyman put him over by doing the, and he was like, shut up.
Dude, I still think it should have been a number one contenders match with John Cena, and he should have beat John Cena. I think he needed a major win going into this. And I'm willing to give the rub to your guy. I think he should have beat Cena.
Granted, yes, but he's going to have to beat Roman. It's now or never for LA Knight. Do you?
It's really never. The answer is never. I like LA Knight.
It's going to happen. And then you know why it needs to be against Roman at the Crown Jewel?
Why?
Because it's not canon. We talked about it a million times. Crown Jewel doesn't matter. But let me give LA Knight a belt and then let him show up on Monday Night Raw with the belts, get the biggest pop of his life on that Raw or SmackDown, wherever he wants to show up. I doesn't care. And by that time, he could show up, wherever he wants because he's a megastar. He shows up, gets that big pop. If he drops the belt, sure. If he drops it to shenanigans because of the bloodline, sure. Whatever. But that belt needs to get off of Roman because it's that time. We need some action with these belts, man. Because now you're just holding on to the belt. You're doing nothing with the belt. You're becoming a Dean Ambrose with the United States title.
Yeah, you're just becoming a prop, honestly. You're just becoming a prop.
You're just that, when you create a wrestler, you give him the belt, doesn't mean anything. Number 2. Who's hot?
I think it's still the bloodline. Just the entire bloodline. Yeah, like between Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns, everything that's going on, like Solo getting a John Cena rub here. I'm saying the entire bloodline.
Where's John Cena? Is he 3?
I think it is. He is 3. I think that razzle dazzle salmon suit style fake retirement really got to me.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Now Rhea Ripley's been getting a lot of push lately. Does Mommy enter in 4?
No, I got Logan Paul at 4.
Ooh,
I got Logan Paul at 4.
I still say this. The last thing we left them off with, we talked about it, but we didn't put him on the list officially. But having him cut a promo on Rey Mysterio in a boxing ring and one of the biggest boxing events of the year. I love you, Logan, for that.
Dude, to put on my Sancho boots here for a second.
You're gonna glaze Logan? Okay.
Not only am I gonna glaze Logan, but Logan Paul and Dominic Mysterio was like the mega powers coming together.
I love it. It kind of reminds me, back in the day, dude, a lot of the heels worked together, but they weren't in a faction.
No,
They just worked together because they understood they were heels. They weren't like a league of whatever. They weren't and by the way, I don't like Montez Ford as heel. It doesn't work for me.
Not doing it for you?
No.
Okay.
You know why? Because he deserves a single run as a face.
I've been saying that for a while, but they're not going to pull the trigger on him yet. I don't know. I think it's inevitable, but because I have got Montez Ford as a future world champion.
I know, but it doesn't. He doesn't wrestle as a heel. Doesn't look good.
I think he needs to demonstrate that he's got the ability to have the range to be a heel before the WWE can trust him near the top of the card. I think we need to let him simmer and see what he can do.
I'm cold. I'm just saying I'm cold on Hurt Business and Street, whatever.
I am too. I'm
cold on it. Okay, 5. You mentioned Dominic. Is Dominic a 5?
No, I think that's Rhea. No. I think that's Drew McIntyre.
Love the segment he had.
Yeah.
Everything he does with Seth is great, is gold right now, and he has a presence about him. Like, I'm drawn to the way he speaks, the way he emotes, the way he his presence, his greasiness, his hairiness.
Great match with Sami Zayn.
And I love the angle of him. I've never seen an angle of a face getting healed, things done to him, and him being like, I didn't want this to happen. And everyone's like, oh, you're on what's wrong? You're now with Judgment Day. He's like, no.
Yeah, and what was I like his sorry folks if you're hearing the dog, you think he hears a delivery driver. Mr. Dwayne the Dog Johnson, please stop. Thank you. We're running a podcast here, all right? We're trying to make that money. We're trying to make those millions. Where were we?
Drew McIntyre.
I love the petty segment that he had with Jey Uso. It was like, oh, did the bloodline cost you your match? Oh, that's so horrible. I wonder what that's like.
It's reminding me of old Drew. And if you watch Drew, young Drew, I don't know how that dude Pokemon evolved into the Drew that we see today.
I know, dude. He's like Charizard right now.
I know, like, goodness Lord. All right. Does Seth Rollins, is he buddied up with Drew, or is this where Rhea Ripley?
No. I think Seth Rollins is well below Drew McIntyre at the moment, and he didn't even have a match. He was relegated to just a Rhea backstage segment. That's it. Mm-hmm. So I don't think he really did that much, if I'm being honest with you.
Is Rhea or Dom here?
Oh, I'm trying to think of some of my other options.
I mean, if you want to think about it, I mean, let me just run down the list of who.
Io Sky retained against Charlotte. That is a big deal. Bianca Belair coming back, but I don't know, like Rhea. Yeah. Okay. All right. I can tell you're trying to steer me there, and that's what you want.
I'm not. Like, I don't like Mama Rhea boss me. I don't like Mama Boss. I don't like it. She doesn't come off as a manipulator. She's not.
I mean, it worked in that 5-way. How she got all the women to beat each other up.
Yeah, but that's in the women's division.
Which she should be involved in more.
Yes, that she should be involved in more, and that's what I'm just not. That's not my favorite version of Rhea. The best Rhea is basically loving on Dom, because that just makes everyone. You know what? Mad.
I'm out on Rhea on this one. I'm putting Becky Lynch instead.
Okay, not like that. Putting Becky Lynch over. Okay.
I think she's so over with the hardcore fans right now, especially with what she did with NXT, dropping the title, doing it clean, defending the title twice a week on Raw and on NXT. She can do no wrong right now as far as I'm concerned, and I'm excited what this means, maybe opening her up for a Rhea Ripley feud.
Number 7, I'm gonna go with Cody Rhodes. Based on audience reaction to him, he still has it.
He has
it. Granted, I don't like the angle of him being hurt.
Dude, they're doing it again.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's the worst angle that's happening right now. Like, let's hurt him so he's, quote, like, nerfed a little bit.
Handicapped,
going into his PLE against Damian, which doesn't make sense. Why just go up against Damian? But now it's just, they're leaning hard into, like, Cody's a tough guy. He could wrestle through anything. He's going to walk out there limping. He's going to walk out there in a boot. I mean, he already seen him done it before with his arm in a sling, right, one-handed. Yeah. We've seen that happen before. So But I just think Cody still has it, and the people still whoa him louder than ever.
I'm digging Cody Rhodes. I just don't love the angle. The angle. I don't love it. Now, granted, Sancho.
Yeah.
If there's anyone that's earned that, it's him. The man wrestled with a torn pec. So if there's anyone that's earned it, it's him. I still don't like it. I still don't like it as a plot telling device. I will admit, if anyone's earned that plot device, it's him.
True, but that's the thing. We've seen it time and time again, and we're seeing that when a wrestler does have a injury going into the match, they may not execute it right. I think Cody is going to. I mean, look at Seth Rollins with his back injury.
That was so poorly executed.
Let's just put tape on him, and that his back injury.
Yeah, and his career's over. Ooh.
We'll put 7 Cody.
Okay.
Out of respect.
Out of respect. All right. Okay, I'm okay with that.
Now Rhea or Dominic enter at 8. I mean, let me read you some names. Maybe it will jog your memory.
Yeah. I still don't feel like Rhea's top 10 right now, but hit me.
All right, here we go. On Monday Night Raw, we had, what about Jey Uso?
No.
Main Event Jey.
No.
Not a fan of Main Event Jey right now. Cold
Not
on
feeling
Main
it.
Event Jey.
I am cold on him. I'm cold on him.
You know what's interesting? When he wrestles as a face, he wrestles more like The Rock. Well, he has The Rock spit move with the hand. And he has a lot of the Samoan faces in his repertoire.
Yeah. He goes back to he goes back to some roots for sure.
Right. It's kind of interesting to me, but no, not at 7 for you.
Not feeling it.
Not at 8. I'm sorry. Let me just go down the list. Damien. What about Finn and Damien? Judgment Day.
I mean, I'm more inclined.
My problem with Judgment Day is I'm getting cold that all their matches end with a interference. Like literally
that's been happening for like a year now at this point. I think at this point it's death taxes in an interference from somebody in the blood, not the bloodline, but also the bloodline, but Judgment Day.
I'm an idiot. Roman.
Well, Roman is the bloodline.
Oh, okay.
He is the bloodline.
So Jay is not in the bloodline, so that makes sense. Okay. What about Sami Zayn? Is Sami Zayn?
No. Dude, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna give you a curveball. And I want you to put them together.
All right.
I want you to put Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis.
Ooh, the
GMs. They've been getting a lot of screen time. They're developing a heat that we haven't seen in the better part of over a decade. This brand manager heat.
Two segments.
Yeah, I'm down for it. I'm down to include them together, though. Together.
Okay, yeah, the GMs, Nick and Adam. I like that because it's not a traditional brand split, but if Nick and Adam showed up to Survivor Series and they're like, these are my guys, let's have a match for whatever kind of random stipulation. And I like the idea they're both jockeying for the best show. It adds a little bit of it, and it returns the show to a form where both shows are connected versus this Raw. This is SmackDown. Now there's them two are the connection, and we're going to have segments where a natural segment where a SmackDown person could show up, and then, Nick comes in and goes, hey, what are you doing on that? I think it adds some great...
Yeah, I think it gives us the out on the hard roster split, because they're clearly never going to do it. They just refuse to. So if they're never going to do it, at least give us individuals that are driving an interesting plot to help justify why we have Raw people on SmackDown, why we have SmackDown people on Raw, and to help create a narrative while those brand splitty invasion things are happening. I'm down for it.
9 Rhea Ripley.
Okay.
I got to give her that.
All right, we can go 9 Rhea Ripley.
I got to go with 9 Ripley, and I'm going to go with 10 Dominic.
Okay, all right.
I mean, Dominic coming out with Logan, that was good.
Mega Powers
is working, and Dominic is still having the belts, running around, doing his thing.
I'm down. I'm
down. At 11, I'm going to throw all the women, the 5-way. I'm just going to put that entire...
Okay, all right.
The 5-way. They're all working together. I think the match is going to be a banger.
I think it can be. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a good match.
I'm going to throw another curveball.
Okay.
At 10, Jade Cargill.
Okay, you're still feeling it, eh? You're still feeling the appearances. Okay. No, I'm not against it. I'm not against it.
Everybody in every comment section that I see that she appears in is just buzzing about her. She's the star power. She has a look.
Are you concerned that they're setting her up for failure?
No.
No, okay. All right. Because there was this little cricket in the back of my head, just like, can she meet these expectations?
Yes.
I think she can too.
She just needs to have squash matches. Just give her squash matches.
I think it's got to be against somebody big though. I think her first squash match needs to be against a former like major champion.
This is where Emma could have fit in, or Bailey.
I think Bailey's a great first squash. I think that's a great first squash, and I don't think it would damage Bailey because she's just a great character worker to be able to get out of that. You know, she'd have her snively heel promos afterwards, you know, like the classic Santino, I wasn't ready. I could totally see that.
I don't think she should go after Charlotte yet.
No.
Yet. I like the teases, and I like she's willing to.
Yeah, Rhea, Becky, Charlotte, if any of those matches are happening, it needs to be at a Mania. It needs to be at this year's Mania. The first one of those matches needs to be at Mania.
All right. At 11, I'm going to put Dominic.
Okay.
12, the 5-way.
The rest of the women, yep.
13, New Day.
Ooh.
I'm really feeling New Day, man.
You're nasty.
I'm feeling New Day, man.
Yeah, I like it.
Their matches are cooking. Their movesets are cooking. They're looking crisp. They're looking fast. The tag team match they had against Alpha Academy was really solid, and I'm enjoying Xavier Woods' moveset now. And it's like there's a new fire underneath New Day, and I don't know what it is. There's just something behind. I feel like when they went to Australia, they feel rejuvenated. Like maybe they told them that there's something coming down the pipe for them.
I think I know what it is, man. I think they work best when they've got a perennial rival. Think of like their time with the Usos, just constant Uso matches after Uso match, and no one ever went back and said, "Oh my God, New Day versus Usos again." I think they're having this renaissance with the Viking Raiders all over again, and now bringing in DIY into the mix, bringing in Imperium, and bringing in Alpha Academy as rivals. I think that's what they needed. I think they just needed a group of people that they could constantly work. That's when they gel the most, personally.
That's when it works for me. It works for me. Now, do you want 14 Alpha Academy? Or
no,
14?
I got 14 Bronson Reed. I got Bronson before Alpha Academy.
Okay, because
Bronson's cooking, dude.
Yeah, I like his New Zealand vibe backstage. Like, hey man, I don't want to fight you type of vibe, but now you're gonna get the horns type of thing, right?
I like it.
I kind of vibe with him, and I love his tsunami move.
It's the scariest move in WWE, personally.
But it looks so clean, though.
I know.
It just looks so majestic, and it probably looks cool live. You know,
I'm sure.
Seeing
yeah.
that man of mass on the turnbuckle, and man, Tozawa took that. He took that.
He took that. Oh, we'll talk about Tozawa later. The power.
15th, Bianca Belair.
Okay. Yeah, major return, major run in, right into the main event. I'm down.
Okay, nice. Okay, 15 Bianca Belair. Now, where does Charlotte go? I was having this feeling while I was watching Charlotte Flair that she's at that moment where people are kind of tired of seeing her, but that's unfair to Charlotte because she's actually a great ring worker and she's a great talent. She's a generational talent for the women's. As being a Flair aside, she's actually fantastic, and I was falling back in love with her as Charlotte Flair, the Queen City Jewel.
I'm gonna correct you. I don't think people are tired of Charlotte. I think people are just tired of being forced to cheer Charlotte. People want to boo her.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
She should be a bad guy.
No, I'm enjoying her. It reminds me of a Cena type vibe with her. Honestly.
No.
Dude, she has just as many as belts as Cena.
It's not about that. Cena. It's about the fact that she has always done her best in-ring and character work when she's a bad guy. We are getting a nerfed Charlotte Flair right now. I'm not saying I want everyone to be a heel. It's just objectively true that she is a better heel.
You do. You want Carlito to be a heel.
That just makes sense.
Granted, he is kind of lame just right now.
I know. Carlito, I told you. He's just existing.
Like, time out. Carlito, bro, you're part of LWO. Are you just late? Are you just Latin time late to the match? And you remember that you had to be out there? You ran out with a chair? Like, why don't you have that moment where you're out with everybody? And, dude, that Rey Mysterio segment was like, Selena, no thank you. Thank you, but no thank you. I'll go out there by myself. I gotta do this by myself. Like, all right, Ray. But dude, his Batman mask is sick.
It's so sick. It's so sick.
His Louis Vuitton vibe.
But, okay, but you're already bored of babyface Carlito.
What's because they're not doing anything with him?
Because they can't do anything with him because it's babyface Carlito. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. All right, that's like having cherry flavored Reese's Pieces.
I will argue with you. It's because there's no tag team division for the LWO to work as a tag team.
It's just because he's a good guy. I'm telling you.
Hit me with this. Why have a faction and just have a singles match between the faction? It makes no sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm with you. It doesn't make any sense.
And that's why I think Montez Ford is being wasted right now.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I just think that Carlito should just be a singles heel. It's what he should be. And Charlotte should be a heel as well.
Where does Charlotte go then? Is she at 16 or is any of the women, is any of Bailey, Io Sky, Charlotte Flair?
I mean, Io Sky over Charlotte. I don't know how that's a discussion. She's the champion and she beat her.
Without the promo work behind,
I guess. But what was Charlotte's promo work?
Charlotte doesn't need promo work for her right now. She's cooking as just her presence. Charlotte could just be in the ring and have a presence over Io Sky.
I mean, I guess she's cooking in the same way that boiled chicken is technically cooked chicken.
Wow. Okay, but does any of those women enter at least 16? I mean, we have names.
Look, I'll do this for you, okay? I think it should be Io Charlotte. We can do 16, 17. I just don't see how we can have Io below Charlotte right now.
Dude, it just shows you that the titles are in the main show. The titles are meaning nothing.
They're stagnant. They are very stagnant. Yes.
We haven't had a Gunther appearance. Anyone from Imperium make this list? No. They're not really doing anything. Johnny Gargano, all love to you, bro. And DIY, whatever.
DIY.
Not really,
do it yourself.
Whatever. Okay, just not.
Not
what is this? Home Depot type promotion? Not sure. I like Dragon Lee a lot. I just wanted to point out it needs to be fit in the records. You know how sometimes they have like a court case and they just say something so it could be forever in the record?
Sure.
Dragon Lee's Titantron is amazing.
It's so sick.
And he walked out of the fire?
Yeah.
Dope.
So sick.
Pretty lit. Where does Chelsea Green and Piper Niven go? Are they on this list?
Oh man, I mean, they had a fun appearance in NXT as the Little Red Riding Hood and the Wolf. They're gonna have a match in next week's NXT. I guess they beat Nikki Cross and Natalya.
I love Nikki Cross thing, dude.
So some people are thinking that might be the start of the reinvigorated either the Witches or Wyatt 6.
I would love it.
Either way, I like it. I hope it leads to something.
It needs to, because it was so bizarre and different.
Well, yeah, if you watch my reaction on TikTok for it, at first when her Titantron hit and her music hit, I was like, okay, all right. And then she came out. Yeah, and then when she wasn't doing the like crazy thing and she was just walking dead-eyed, I was like, ooh, I'm in. I'm in for a penny, in for a pound. I'm interested as to see what you're doing here. I'm more interested in Nikki Cross, honestly. I think she was more buzzworthy than the rest of the women we just talked about there.
Again, taking what you can and going running the ball with it.
Yeah.
With that, I'm going 19 Alpha Academy with Tozawa.
So who's getting the rub here, though? Genuine question. Actual genuine question. Not trolling or anything. Who's getting the bigger rub? Alpha Academy for being with Tozawa or Tozawa for being with Alpha Academy? Ooh. That's a genuine question. I'm not trying to troll anybody or trying to inflame a fight, but they're both genuinely over. But one was on the rise and one was on its downstream. So who's getting the bigger rub here?
It is Alpha Academy.
I think so too.
Because Tozawa is getting all the attention beyond just he's a magnet. Yeah. And you know what? He put in a lot of work. He jobbed for a lot of people. And at the same time, I feel that at least this puts a better taste in her mouth to be like what it's doing. What like it distracts us from Gable. That's what it does.
Yeah.
And now we're like, oh, whatever they do, Tozawa's gonna be a part of, and I cannot wait to see what Tozawa does. And I think it is definitely the lifeline that Alpha Academy needed, because I like the gimmick of, hey, I'm the coach. I'm going to teach you how to wrestle. I think they try to do it with Maxine, and for some reason they dropped that. I guess it wasn't working.
I liked it. I liked it too. Yeah.
So why not do it with Tozawa?
I'm with you.
And I think a Tozawa victory against Gunther is an Alpha Academy victory against Gunther.
Okay. All right. I'm sold. All right. Let's put Alpha Academy and Tozawa together.
Who's 20? Who's the last spot?
Yo, shout out to Tozawa for moving up a spot.
Yeah, Tozawa
is slowly moving up.
Not only just himself, but Alpha Academy.
He carried Alpha Academy to the 19th spot. Ooh.
Okay. We have.
What are some options here for 20, the last spot?
We have. So, well, the good thing is we put everybody together, because I think sometimes when wrestlers work together for a story, it should be like, you know what I mean? Is Zoe Stark doing anything great? No, but
collectively she is.
I like this adjustment to the new Heat order. I mean, we have Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, Cameron Grimes, Dragon Lee. We have who else? We have Bailey that we have on our list. We have Sami Zayn. We have Johnny Gargano. We already talked about it, and Seth Rollins. We had an appearance, Damian Priest. We don't have Judgment Day on this list.
No.
And it just shows me that we're getting colder and colder on Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Mr. Money in the Bank. Bro.
I know, we're getting cold on him. You're right. Okay. You know what I'll toss in here? All right, we haven't talked about him. Let's give some love back to Nakamura. All right.
Oh, Nakamura. Yeah.
I think previous week he had that great Falls Count Anywhere match. He had a great back the Yakuza style vignette. Another CM Punk reference with him. He's been using the GTS. He finished that promo with, I need to find the person that's going to set me free. CM Punk's entrance theme, the Cult of Personality, is only you can set me free. I think it could happen.
CM Punk versus Nakamura?
I mean, we've never seen it before, and I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
It'd be a good first match for him.
Yeah.
And it was, and considering that Nakamura's angle, and I would say I'm probably the first one to call this out, is that he's trying to test the inner strength and the inner resolve of all of his opponents. And that's what he said. He's looking for someone to pull something out of his opponents. And that's what's interesting about it. I like Nakamura here. I like his promos. They're great.
I like that we don't know who he's targeting right now. I like that it's just kind of this veil, and that it likely means that next week he's just going to attack somebody random, and like that's the vicious Nakamura that should have won the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm glad that they're continuing with this vicious Nakamura, even if it's not at the main event level. I think it still works.
Mid card is cool. Side note. Logan Paul calling out Samantha.
That was great.
I loved it, dude. It was such a slimy, grimy thing, and they're not even doing anything bad. They're just like, go ahead, just say my name and that I'm the new champion. And it's just like, oh, Logan, you're such a scumbag. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was weird that the kind of tone from cutting a babyface promo on Dylan Dennis and then swapping to heel is a little bit jarring. But it works for me.
That's Logan in a nutshell. Yeah. And I think what's interesting is poor Dylan.
He just taking strays everywhere, dude. Everywhere.
I mean, granted, some say he deserves it the way he was behaving, but after that performance, he is getting buried like night after night. And I think it's like more like Logan saying, I'm going to say this thing. And they're like, okay, Logan, you could do whatever you want to do, as long as you bring it back into the fold. And another interesting note of the new Heat order, no Rey Mysterio. No LWO.
The thing is that Rey Mysterio feels
in like in the video you said he's your top 5 wrestlers of all time.
He is, and I can be critical. You can be critical of the things that you love. All right.
Yeah. There's nothing that LA Knight does wrong, and it's the BFT. This is his finisher. The back front taker is what it stands for.
I was just gonna say, like, it just feels like Ray is just. he's
vehicle,
just
right?
he's a vehicle. He just happens to be holding the title that would look great on Logan Paul. That's the only it feels like that's the only reason that Rey Mysterio is there. It doesn't matter who's holding that title. It's just whoever happened to be holding that title is the person that Logan Paul would go up against at that moment in time.
Man, if Logan runs around and calls himself the Great American Boy,
I love
or the
it.
Great American
I love it.
Champion, you'd be like, oh, I hate you, Logan Paul. Yeah,
the American hero.
But we talked about it before. If he turned that into a prime belt, that would even be better. It would be
better.
the most heel thing you could do to United States Championship belt.
Since the spinner.
Oh, how dare you, John Cena? How dare you?
That was dude.
Great Eagle, the Great Eagle belt, dude.
All right, folks. Well, we'll wrap.
You got LA Knight, 1, 2 Bloodline, 3 John Cena, 4 Logan Paul, 5 Drew McIntyre, 6 Becky Lynch, 7 Cody Rhodes, 8 Nick and Adam for the GMs, 9 Rhea Ripley, 10 Jade Cargill, 11 Dominic, 12 the 5-Way, 13 New Day, 14 Boston Reed, 15 Bianca Belair. I did say Bronson.
You said Boston.
No, I said Bronson Reed.
No, you said Boston, but okay.
16 Io Sky, 17 Charlotte, 18 Nikki Cross, 19 Alpha Academy Tozawa, and 20 Nakamura.
I think that's a wonderful list. I love that we added the GMs in here. I love that they're fair game.
You gotta give them respect.
Yes.
Santi, take us out of here, Santi.
Oh, that was a fun episode. Thank you very much for listening, whether it was on audio services or on YouTube. Make sure to leave us a like, a review. Our reviews on Spotify are popping off, so thank you, folks, for doing that. Sancho, where can the people find you these days?
Find me at Sancho West and all things. Now, great news is, because Twitch allows us to simulcast on all things, I am now on YouTube and Twitch at Sancho West, live every day, and on TikTok.
I don't think I've had your YouTube in the description.
It's okay.
I've been having your other ones. I've been having... Okay, but...
channel that has it's like 130,000. It's like an empty house. It's like an abandoned asylum. You're looking at like, wow, this used to have greatness, but now it's...
Oh, we're going to make Sancho's YouTube channel great again with the simulcasting. Go check it out, folks. Sancho's a great dude. He's a fine fella. You can find me over on twitch.tv/SantiZap. And
no Jey Uso on the list. I'm just sorry.
Yeah, you're right. No Jey Uso. I just wasn't feeling him, sir. I wasn't feeling him. I'm also going to be simulcasting on YouTube starting this Friday. So yeah, that's going to be fun. Thank you very much for watching this episode. If you've been supporting us on Patreon, thank you a little bit extra more for tossing us a couple extra bucks. Appreciate you. Take care, everybody. Be wonderful people and do something nice for somebody. Cheers. I still haven't hit end recorded. You're just dancing still.